Good question. Let's get to it. And I appreciate the kind words there, guys. It's good to hear. It's always nice to get the feedback that this platform is beneficial to you. Okay, you wish to know about specialized speech therapies. Your son has autism. His primary eligibility is autism. Speech is second. He has speech apraxia. Could I ask a school for a speech therapist who specializes in apraxia to provide support? And what kind of goals should we have on his IEP? That's a good question. Now, what you sort of left off, and I'm going to make an assumption that as part of your child's IEP, then your child also receives speech and language services as a related service. So you have autism as the primary eligibility category, okay, which means that that's not speech language impairment, which is a different major eligibility category. Okay, that's important, guys, because whatever your child's primary eligibility category is, there is no requirement or additional requirement that they have to qualify for, let's say, some additional areas. One of the common areas where there's confusion is going to be speech language services, to where, some educators have this misconception that somehow you have to qualify or hit some kind of discrepancy marker in order to have that service of speech language services relate over to benefit your child's main educational performance areas of academics, communication, and social emotional development. So if autism is that primary eligibility category, then what you're doing is you're looking at speech language services as a related service. It relates over to the educational performance needs of the primary disability category and those educational performance areas. Okay, always important to remember. That's why we call it related services. It relates over to the educational performance area deficits. Okay, it serves to balance those. It enhances your child's ability to progress and master goals. And that's why we provide what's called related services. But those related services have to relate over to support the educational performance areas. So if we know that your child has autism and apraxia, then at that point, can your child, let's say in academics, let's just take that as an example, then, what we would know would work for your child would be a multi-sensory structured repetitive reading program. And then on top of that, yes, there would need to be an intensive therapy in areas like phonemic awareness and phonological processing, which of course would hit a lot of those areas of apraxia, areas that would impact or relate over to your child's academic performance. Also, it touches on your child's communication area, and it also enhances social emotional development by having social and reciprocal communication with peers. So it hits on all areas. And so, yes, would it be appropriate for you to ask for services from a speech language pathologist that has an expertise in apraxia? Absolutely. Now, many schools are going to say that our speech language pathologists have that expertise. And I'm not necessarily discounting that, but the devil's sort of in the details. And you can sort of see that with regards to how your child's progressing, okay? But it is absolutely appropriate to ask to ensure that the relevant competency in that area is filled, because that is going to be a primary concern within that area of communication, within that area of speech and language, and that absolutely then will relate over to a lot of the deficits that your child's going to face over the years with regards to learning, academics. And like I said, so where would your goals be? They would be in approaching, it would cross over into obviously academics with regards to that multi-sensory structured repetitive reading program. But what we would really need to attack is on the speech language side as well, would be that phonemic awareness and phonological processing aspects, and have that be a focus. Okay. The other thing is you got to be careful in how they provide those services, because your child more than likely would benefit from having that be provided directly one-to-one as opposed to in a small group setting. I don't have a problem with doing a mix depending on the functioning level of your child and the benefit, in meaning a mix of small group and direct one-to-one. But you need to ask those questions, clarifying questions, and you need it notated in the IEP correctly. And as far as small group, always ask what the number of the small group is, and also ask what the functioning level of the other kids in the small group, so that you can ensure that your child is matched with children at his level or higher, so that your child's benefiting from the other kids in the small group. What you don't want is you don't want your child being the highest performer in the small group to where there's really no benefit with regards to that reciprocal exercises or those directed exercises to where we're enhancing the skills taught by the speech language pathologist. Great question.